My name is Sagar Sonwane and I'll be your trainer today. So in the last session, we had seen some basics about Go, like what are functions in Go, how can we write functions in different types, what are control statements in Go, and how can we define a custom type in Golang. So continuing to that, we'll be looking at some data structures in Go today. So to be specific, those are arrays, slices, maps, and some string operation that we can perform in Golang. So just to confirm, is this text size okay with you all guys? Is it visible to you properly?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so just like what we have in another programming languages like C, Python, Java, we also have arrays in Go. And the definition is also very much similar to that only, that array is a collection of fixed length of elements which are of similar type. So just as you can see in the image, there are elements stored in contiguous memory locations. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So this is an array. This is an array of size 6. So in Golang, we can declare an array with the help of following syntax. So first, what you have to do is you have to mention the size of the array in square brackets. So arrays are fixed size in Golang. So it is necessary to mention the size of array you are going to define. So size goes first within the square brackets. Then after that, data type is followed after that. And in curly braces, you can specify the elements which you want to put in that array. So it is always not necessary to specify the elements at the start, but this gives us a clear idea like what elements are going to be there in array. Otherwise, you can also use some another operations like append, so that you can append new elements to the array. So this is also a shorthand declaration. So you can just give the variable name colon equal to size in the square bracket followed by data type, and in curly braces the elements which you are going to define. So let's look at how it works in Golang. So just to confirm, is this text size visible to you guys, or should I increase the font?
Yes, size is visible.
Okay. So this is how we can define a array in a Golang. So this is the variable, and this is the shorthand we use to define and initialize a variable. And after that, within the square braces, we have mentioned the size of the array, followed by the data type, and we can mention the elements here. So if I just comment out the other code and we'll try to run it. So this declares a size of this declares an array of size 3 and initializes the variables to the default value of the type. So integer has default value of 0. So that's why our array is initialized to 3 values which are 0. So if I wish to add the elements beforehand, so what I can do is I can mention the elements here only. And so this has exceeded the size which I had given. So you have to be precise when you're giving the size of the array. So yes, so as you can see, we have declared an initialized an array of size 4, which consists of elements 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if you want to do not like mention the size and want the compiler to like decide it, so you can also use another declaration for that, and that is use this 3 dot declaration instead of mentioning the size. So what this does is at the compile time, it the compiler figures out the size of the array. So if I run this program, so what you guys can see is this is an empty array since we did not mention any elements in here. So if I mention few elements, so yeah, so this is an array of size 4 where the elements are 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and similar to that, we can also declare types, array of different types, just like what we did earlier. So here we are declaring an array of size 3, which consists of string elements. So as you can see, the array is printed and it is containing John, Jane, and Jin. So this way you can initialize the array in Golang. And few things to keep in mind while working with arrays. So empty array, as I mentioned, is always initialized to the default value of its type. So in case it is an integer, the default value would be 0. If it is of string type, the default value would be empty string, and the array length is part of its type. So while you are declaring array, you need to mention the size of the array. It is always necessary to do that. Hence, the difference in size constitutes to a different array. So consider I have declared two array, one with size 6 and it is of type integer, and one of size 3 which is also of type integer. So since the sizes are different, this means that these arrays are not similar. So and as I mentioned, we can use triple dot in at place of size, so the compiler derives the size at runtime. And just like what we have in another programming languages, the index of the array starts from 0 and finish at array length -1. And in order to access the element of array, what you have to do is you have to give the array name, and within the square brackets you have to mention the index. So here we have an array of 3 elements consisting of John, Jane, and Jean strings. So what I will try to do is I'll try to like find out the value at second index. So let's just try to do that. Array of 4 and value 2. So this is printing Jin, since the last index which this array has is 2 only. So 0, 1, and 2, and at 2 index the value is Jin, so it is printing Jin. Okay, yeah. Just like another programming languages, we can specify multi-dimensional arrays in Golang, and declaration is also very much similar to the others. So if you want a 2-dimensional array, so you can like declare it the same way by adding one more value in square brackets. So let's look at the code example for this. So if I want to declare a 2-dimensional array in Golang, so what I'm trying to declare here is I have to declare an array which has 2 rows, and each row consists of 3 elements. So what I'll do is I'll declare an array which consists of type elements, and each element is a array of 3 variables. So this is the declaration, and here I have declared a multi-dimensional array, and we'll just try to print out whatever the value is. So this is how we can declare a 2-dimensional array in Golang. So this declaration might look little stiff to you, because what I have done is, first what I want is I want an array which consists of 2 elements. So here we are giving the size 2 with and each element represents an array of size 3. So this is what we are doing at the second place. That first is the size of actual array, like what are the number of elements it is going to contain, and second is the value data type of element. So it can be array also. So each element is array of 3 integers. So within the curly braces, what we have done is we have initialized arrays with the values. So we have initialized array of size 3 and the values are 1, 2, 3. And same for the second element. We have declared and initialized an array of size 3 with values 4, 5, and 6. So this declaration might look little stiff to you. So what we can do is we can also simplify this. So this is a simplified declaration of the same what we did before. So this is also an array of 2 by 3 size, and what we have done is we have initialized the array variables without mentioning this size and data type. So within the curly braces, this kind of declaration is also acceptable, since we know the elements need to be array of size 3. So this is similar to that only, because this is an initialization of an array, and this contains 3 elements. And same for the second element, this also contains 3 elements that are 4, 5, 6. So let's try to print this. So at first what we have done is we have like printed both multidimensional array variable and simplified variables. Since these two represents the same array, which is of dimensions 2 by 3. So this is showing us the same value in the output. And when we try to access the 0th element in this 2-dimensional array, it is giving us the value 1, 2, 3 for both the variables, since they are similar. And similar we can see in the last case, where we are trying to find the element at first position in row 1, index 1 in row 1. So which is this 2, row 1 and index 1. So at index 1 the value is 2. So we can see the output is 2 here. Yeah. So, and just to keep this in mind, that there is no limit to the number of dimensions we can declare in arrays. So you can also declare an array of dimensions 2, 3, and 4. Just you have to make sure that you are initializing it properly, so that it doesn't, the compiler doesn't fail. And yeah, so starting with another data structure, slices are very much similar to arrays in Golang, but it provides a more flexibility than the array. So you must have seen lists in Python. So what we can do is we can append anything to the list. We can do any operations. It is not of fixed size. So similar is slices in Golang. So slices is a segment of array only, and what slices do at backend is they are built on an array only, and provides more flexibility and convenience compared to the array. Since slices are of a dynamic size, you can add any number of elements to the slices, and you do not have to mention what size it should be at the start only. So just like arrays, slices are indexable and have length, but unlike array, they can be resized. Since just I mentioned that they are dynamic, so size does not need to be fixed for slices. And internally, the slices just refer to an underlying array only. So let's just look at how we can declare a slice in Golang. So as I mentioned, slice is a growable sequence of values of same time, which is similar to arrays, but the size is dynamic here. And this is the way we can declare a slice in Golang. First, we have to use the word var variable name, and this is the declaration of slice in Golang. You need to put the square brackets. You do not need to mention the size, and followed to that we have to specify what is the data type. And we can also do the initialization at the same time while we are defining a slice. So just you have to add the elements in curly braces. So this syntax cover both declaration and initialization of slice. So let's just try it out once in the Go playground. Yeah, so this is how we can declare a slice variable in Golang. So variable name is SLC, and this is a slice of type integer. So when I run this program, what you can say is we are printing a slice which consists of value 1 and 2. So at line number 10, what I have done is I have declared a variable of type slice, and then after that I have initialized it. So you can do this as well. Like it is not necessary that you initialize it while you're declaring the variable. You can initialize it afterwards as well, just like I did here. And if I want to initialize at the beginning, I can do that as well. So I'll use a shorthand operator here. So SLC is the variable, and I am declaring a variable of type slice which is containing integer values. So this slice is containing 5 integer values that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, as you can see in the output, values are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And just like that, you can also declare a slice for string data types as well, and any other data types which you want to use. So this is a slice of type string which consists of 2 elements. First one is foo and second one is bar, and these 2 values are string types. Okay, so there are another ways to create a slice. First 2 we saw that we can declare a variable of type slice, then initialize it. And apart from that, we can do the declaration and initialization at same time only. But as I mentioned earlier, that slice is nothing but a chunk of array. Like it refers to an underlying array only. So what we can do is we can create slice using arrays as well. So let's look at that example. So just to make sure this font size is visible to you guys, right? Or should I increase it? Visible. Okay, thanks. So as I mentioned, slice refer to underlying array only. So what we have done here is we have declared an array of size 4 which consists of data type integers, and the value it holds is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what I am trying to do at line number 26 is I am trying to create a slice here using this array. So in order to do that, I have to do slicing operation here. So I'll write the array variable name. Then after that, within square bracket, I need to mention the indices. So if I wanted value 2, 3, 4, I would have mentioned like 1 and a colon and no value here, so that it would have taken 2, 3, and 4 from the underlying array and created a slice out of that. But in this case, I am just trying to like get all the values in this slice. So I have not mentioned the indices. So when we run this program, what you will see is it has created a slice, and that slice is of type integer. So the distinction you can see here is in the type, you can see that it is not showing any size within the square bracket. So this tells us that this is a slice and not an array. because when we declare an array, the size is mentioned. So when we declare a slice, the slice size is not mentioned in the square brackets. Okay, yeah. So there is one more way we can initialize a slice, and that can be done with the help of a make function. So a make function can be used to initialize few things in Golang, and out of which one is slices. So what this make function does is it takes three arguments basically. First one is the uh, like the data type which you want to initialize. Like I am trying to initialize it with a slice of type integers, and the other two arguments are length and capacity of slice. So just in the next slide we will be discussing what is length and capacity of a slice, but just for the sake of like using this function here for declaration, I'm mentioning 0. So this will, what this will do is this will create an empty slice of 0 length and 0 capacity for now. So I'll try to run this program. So first let me comment out the other ones so that it does not pollute the output. So as you can see, we have done an empty initialization of slice using make function. So with the help of make, we have initialized an empty slice of type integers. And on line number 27, what we have done is we have assigned few values to this slice. So we can assign more values as well. So I have assigned 1, 2, 3, 4 on line number 27. So when we print the slice, it will give us the output, and it will show that we have values 1, 2, 3, 4 in our integer slice. So this is how we can declare and initialize slices in Golang. So as I mentioned, the slices are a reference type in Golang since it refer to an underlying array only. So if you modify an element of a slice, what is going to happen is it will also modify the element of the underlying array also. And so just let's look at with the help of the example. So what I have done here is I have declared an array of size 3 which holds integer values 1, 2 and 3. So first I will just print the array, whatever we have in the array. And what I'm trying to do now is I am trying to create a slice out of it. So here we are creating a slice which will point to this same values. So this slice will also contain value 1, 2, 3. So now if I try to update any one of the value in the slice, so let's assume since we have value 1, 2, 3 in slice, so what I'm trying to do here is I am trying to update the value at index number 2. So what I want here is at the place of 3, I want to change the value to 9. So when I print this, so as the definition suggested that slice refers to an underlying array only. So what this will do is this will update the value at both slice for slice as well as for the underlying array. So let's try and print this. So if you guys can see in the output, let's comment out the first one so that it is clearly visible. So at first, what I have printed is this is the array. And so just let me do some formatting so that it is properly visible. Yeah. So what this manipulation has done is it has updated the slice as well as the underlying array. Okay, so this is how slices work in Golang. And one more point to mention here is that whatever slice refer to the same array will also see these kind of modifications, right? So if more than one slice is referring to the same underlying array, so if I try to modify one of the slice, so what that will do is that will also modify the value in other slices. So let's can someone mute whoever is talking? Okay. Okay. So what we are trying to do here is we are creating a new slice out of that older one. So we have slice S1, okay, which consists of the value 1, 2, and 9. And what I'm trying to do here is I am creating another slice of which is S2 using the slice S1 only. So what this will do is this will refer to the same underlying array only. And if I try to manipulate the value at index 1 and change its value from 2 to 88, so what this will do is this will basically change the value of both slice 1, slice 2, and also the underlying array. So let's try and run this. So what we can see is we can see the value 88 being reflected in all the data structures. Like it is being reflected in array, it is being reflected in slice 1, and it is also reflected in slice 2 as expected. Since all of them are referring to same underlying array, so these value changes will be reflected in all the respective slices which are pointing to that array. Okay. Any questions till now, guys? You can put it in the chat or just unmute yourself. I can see one question here that array and slices use pass by value or pass by reference. So in Golang, everything is pass by value only. So whatever you are passing or whatever you're passing in Golang, it is always pass by value and it is not pass by reference. And can we change the size? So for arrays, we cannot change the size because it is of fixed size only as the definition suggests. But for slices, it is of dynamic size. So we can change the size of arrays. We can change the size of slices. And another question I can see is if we make the slice from an array, then we can append new values in it. If so, then array size also changed in some cases. So this point we will look at in upcoming slides. So this question was from Akshat. Akshat, we will be discussing this in further slides. So just hold on to these questions. And when we append elements to the slice, does array change as well? Yeah, so these questions will be covered in further further slides, because we will be covering one append function which is related to slices and how does it affect the underlying array and slice. So we'll be looking at that. And another question I can see is, but we are passing slice to function. This should act as pass by reference as slices are referencing type. So to answer this question by Prakhar, so even though slices are a reference type and it is referring to an underlying array, but it is still passing by value. So if I am passing slice to a function, so what I'm trying to do is I am like passing all the header values of slice to that function. So even though it is so let me show you with the help of an example. Okay, so So Prakhar, let me answer your questions in few slides, because we will be discussing what slice header contains. So it will get more clear to you when we talk about that. And is there any operator like delete for slice? No, there is no such operator as delete for slice. So we'll be looking at these as well in upcoming slides. And one more question I can see from Yash. So if we have slice of size 3, so we can add fourth element as slice. So if the so this is also related to what we'll be seeing in the further slides. So this is the question which Yash has asked, constitutes related to what we have as length and capacity for slices. So in the upcoming slides, we will be looking at slices in more detail, where we will be seeing what is length of slice, what is capacity of slice. So all these questions will be answered then. So let's move forward and let's get into depth of slices. So if you can see, this is the basic data type of slice looks like. So this is how a slice header looks like. It consists of length, it consists of another field as capacity, and it consists of third element, that is zeroth element of the reference array. So this is the third variable is the pointer to the array, and first two are length and capacity of slice. So what length is for slices is, it is the number of elements that slice is holding at that time, and capacity of the slice is the number of elements the slice can hold before it's needing to be reallocated. So mainly it depends on the size of underlying array. So let's see it with the help of example. So what I'll try to do is, I'll create a slice here s of type integer, and I do not initialize it with any variables now. So when I am trying to print some values, like what I'm trying to print here is, I'm trying to print the slice as well as what is the length of slice and what is the capacity of slice. So with the empty initialization of slice, what we can see is the slice has length 0. That means it is currently holding 0 elements, and the capacity here is also 0. So capacity basically refers to how many more elements slice can hold before before starting referring to a new array with bigger size. So let's consider I have added 2 elements here. So slice and capacity will be 2 only here. But instead of that, what if I declare an array, and this array is of size 5 of type integer. It holds value 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I am creating one more slice out of that array only. And I am taking only variables up to 1, 2, and 3. So up to third index, I am taking the values. So we will print whatever the values that slice is holding. So just so you guys can remember, the len function shows the length of the slice, and cap function is used to find out the capacity of the slice. Okay, so at line number 14, we have declared a new slice which consists of elements 1, 2, 3 from underlying array, which we declared at line number 30. So what we will do is, we will try to find out what is the length and what is the capacity of this slice. So as you can see, just let me comment out the other portion so it is more clear to you guys, that even though the length of this slice is 3, okay, since we are like only taking 3 elements from the underlying array, that is 1 2 3, but the capacity you can see here, it is showing is 5, because we still have some space which we can use from the underlying array in order to store variables. So that's why it is showing the capacity as 5 and not 3. So length and capacity are different items. So length just shows whatever number of elements we are holding, and capacity represents what is the number of elements a slice can hold before it needs reallocation. So whenever slice goes out of its capacity, what it tries is, what it does is, it like it starting it starts referring to a new array altogether. So if this capacity of this slice is not enough, like I am appending new elements to this slice s1, and I do it until the capacity 5 is exhausted, and for the sixth element, what this will do is the slice will start referring to new underlying array. So this we will be looking in the further slides. So let's look at how we can use length and capacity while initializing a slice. So the make function can be used in order to create a slice with a fixed length and capacity. So let's look at with the help of an example. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to, okay, I'm trying to create a slice here with the help of make function, which is of type integer, and it has a length of size 3 and capacity 5. So what this has done is it has created an integer slice which has length 3 and capacity 5. So I'll try to print the values here. S is the slice, length is the length of S is the number of elements the slice will be holding, and capacity is the limit. So let's just run the program. And as you can see, since we declared the length as 3, so what this make function has done is it has initialized the slice with the default values of type. So the default value of type integer is 0. So that's why we can see 3 elements of value 0 in this slice. And if I had to like do it for string type, you could have seen some empty string here instead of that. Or if I do it for boolean type, you can see false false false, which is the default type of boolean. And as we mentioned in the make function only, the first argument is the length. So here we can see length of the slice, and 5 as the capacity we mentioned while creating the initializing the slice. So the capacity of that slice is also 5 here. So one more thing which we need to keep in mind while working with slices is, you cannot like, even though you can see that the capacity is 5 and it must be holding any value at this particular location in the underlying array, but still we cannot exceed the limit of the length. So if I try to like find out the value after anything after index 3, so this will also result in an error only. So let's see, I'm trying to print the value at index 1. So this should not give an error because this is within the range only. This is within the range of length only. Since the length is 3, so what we can do is we can access the values till index 0, 1, and 2. So if I try to access anything beyond 2, so this should give an error to me. So as you can see, you have got a panic that index out of range 3. So even though the capacity is more, like this slice can hold more values, and in array there is, in underlying array there is more space which could be holding any other values, but still it does not allow us to index find the value of index beyond the length. So this is to keep in mind while we are working with slices. So in order to avoid any panics, and the default value of slice is nil. So an empty slice is always a nil slice. So let's look at how length and capacity of slices manipulates the underlying array and provides us the slices we want. So yeah, so this is basically the header we talked about. So the slice header consists of uh, length 3, capacity 5, and pointer 2, and basic array type. So we will try to replicate the same situation in our Go code as well. So let's just do that. So what we will do first is we will create an array which is of size 6, and it holds the value 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm creating a slice out of this particular array. And what I want is I want the elements 20, 30, and 40 out of this slice. No, sorry, out of this underlying array only. So at 20, in order to get 20, 30, and 40, what I'll have to do is I have to mention the proper indexes. And in order to get the 20 value, I have to mention the starting index is 1. And in order to get the elements till 40, I have to mention the ending element as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4. So you will see that we have successfully created a slice. Okay, so print ln function is. So this has created a slice of value 20, 30, and 40 out of this underlying array. And if we were to check what is the length of the slice and what is the capacity of this slice. So we can see the length is 3 and the capacity of that slice is 5. So just like what we can see in this image, length is 3 and capacity is 5. So this is the similar result which we have got right now. Okay. So reslicing is also an we can also do reslicing of the slices. Like if we have a slice, we can perform multiple operations and we can create different types of slices with the help of reslicing. Okay, so what we can do is we can try to play out the similar examples here. So what this example does is it is holding 10 values, 10 to 100, and we are trying to print the values here. So this is basically a slice only. Okay, this is not an array, this is a slice which holds 10 values. And let's put it on the new line so it is more visible. Oh, sorry. So this is the slice containing 10, 20, 30 up to 100. Length is 10 and capacity is also 10. Okay. So we will start doing the reslicing operation now. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create a new slice out of the older slice, which consists of 10 elements. So right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a slice of 4 elements from 20 to 50. And we will like try to do that. We will s is equal to, so what values do we want? From 20 to 50. So from index 1 to 5, and we will so just I'm commenting out the first one so that it does not come in our way. So as you can see, this slices 4 elements. So that's why the length is 4. But even though the length is 4, its capacity is still 9. So that means it can be appended, like it can be extended till the size 9, and it will still refer to the same underlying array. So as you can see in the image, that this new slice is referring to the same underlying array, which consists of value 20, 30, 40, and 50. So it will hold the value 20, 30, 40, and 50, and the length of the slice will be 4, but the capacity of that slice will be 9, because since we are starting from the second element from the underlying array, so this will consider all the variables, all the elements from index 1 to the last index. So that's how the capacity is going to be for this particular slice. Okay, so we will try to do a similar kind of operation on this slice which we just created. So the slice which we have right now is 20, 30, 40, and 50. So it contains only 4 elements. But what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get the values up to the 8th element, up to the 8th index. So even though the slice length is still 4, it will still give me the values up to 8th index, because it is pointing to same underlying array, and the array holds up to the 10 values. So it is possible for it to give me the values up to the 8th index. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get the since the slice contains 20, 30, 40, 50, I'm trying to do a reslicing on it, and I'm trying to get the 8 values out of it. So let's see what will be the output for this. Yeah, as you can see, we can see the values 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. So even though the slice before this, which we used to create the new slice, had only 4 values, but it had capacity 9 and it had some values in the underlying array. That's why it was possible for us to do reslicing beyond the length of that particular slice. So even though the slice on line number 10 had length 4, we were able to do reslicing of that particular slice up to the 8th index, because the capacity was not exhausted. So that's why we were able to get the values up to 90 for this slice. And you can see the length is 8 and capacity is 9. So the length of this slice, that means it has 8 elements and capacity is 9. That means the underlying array still holds one more value beyond this values which we resliced into new slice. Okay, so again what we are trying to do is on this particular slice we are going to get the values from 40 up to the last index. So since our slice now contains 20 up to 90, 20 to 90 values, what I'm trying to do is I am trying to again perform a reslicing operation, which will go from the index to up to the last element in the slice before. So let's just look at first what we are expecting from here. So let's understand from the diagram that from the underlying slice, we had values 20, 30, 40 up to 90. Okay. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to get the values from 40 till the last element which the slice contains, that is 90. So what this reslicing operation s of 2 colon and the empty value to represent the last index, what this will do is this will do the reslicing, and this will take out the values from 40 till 90 in the new slice. So we will get the values 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90, and the length of the length of the new slice will be 6, and the capacity of the slice will be 9. Sorry, capacity of slice will be 7, because still it has one more value at the end after 90 in the underlying array. So we have done the reslicing operation on the slice above, which has value 20 to 90, and we will try to run it. So you can see the values are 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90, and the length is 6 and the capacity is 7. So this new slice holds 6 elements and the capacity is 7. Capacity means whatever the underlying array is holding beyond the starting point of the slice. So this slice is starting at 40, that is the third index. So until 100 in underlying array, what the capacity is 7. So just from the image we can see that 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, these are the elements in the slice, and including 100, these are the elements in the underlying array. Okay. So this is how we can perform reslicing operations in Golang, and it is not very much convenient, as you must have seen, because it seems a little bit confusing because it is pointing to the same memory location that is an underlying array. But Go is faster because of this way only, because what Go does is it does not allocates new memory always for creating new slices. It just refers to an underlying array only. That's why we have the concept of capacity. So the capacity is what we have in underlying array. So if the capacity is 2, that means underlying array can hold 2 values. If the capacity is 10, the underlying array can hold 10 values. And you must be having a question in your mind that what if the slice, the length of slice goes beyond the capacity of the underlying array. So consider I have a slice which holds 7 value. Okay. And the underlying array also holds 7. Underlying array can also hold 7 values. So the length and capacity of slice would be 7 only, right? So in that case, if I try to append one more variable to this, one more element to the slice, so what that will do is that will start pointing to a new array from that point onwards. And it is like the what Golang compiler does is it creates a new array which is twice the size of the previous one. So consider for the slice, we considered that the capacity is 7. Okay. So, and also the length is 7. So that means slice contains 7 elements and its capacity is also 7. So if I try to append an 8th element in the slice, what this will do is this will now start pointing to a new underlying array of twice the size. So this will, what the Golang compiler will do is, it will create a slice of size 14 now. It will like copy the values which we had in previous array from 7 values which we had in previous array, and it will copy those values in the new array, and it will start pointing from the point onwards. So let's see. So let's consider, I'm just trying to add comments so that you can relate to what I'm saying. So this array is of size 7. Okay. So that means whatever slice I'm creating out of this. So if I create a slice out of this array, which has length 7 and capacity 7, so that means the maximum limit this underlying array can hold is 7 only. So since even though the underlying array can hold only 7 values, we know that our slice is a dynamic data structures. That means we can increase the length of the slice. So if I try to increase the slice, increase the length and try to add a new element. So what this will do is, this will create a new array. So Golang compiler will create a new underlying array, create a new underlying array of twice the size. So first it was 7, and now it will be 14. So now the slice will be having 8 elements. That will be, length will be 8, but the capacity will extend to 14 now, because it is now pointing to a bigger array with double the size of the previous array. So even though we have just added one element beyond the capacity of slice, in order to provide efficiency, like in order to not do this operation and again and again, what Golang compiler does is, it increments the capacity by double. So this is how the underlying array is changed when slice grows out of its capacity. Yeah, Dinesh, what you have said is right. Slice is basically like vectors in CPP STL. Yes. So there are few built-in functions which are helpful while. So as we saw that slice are referring to an underlying array only. So if I change one thing in one slice, it will result in change in different slice as well, right? So let's see, if I am creating one slice S1 of type integer, and it has value 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And what I'm trying to do here is, I am creating a new slice altogether, using this slice one, and I'll print the values of both the slices, S1 and S2. So both will be having values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Because this is still pointing to the same slice. So if I change anything in the slice S2, like S2 of index 3, I am changing it to 88. So what this is expected to do is, it is expected to manipulate the other slice as well. So even though I am trying to create a new slice, okay, using the first slice, it is still able to manipulate the values in both the slices. So what if I do not want such case? I want to create a new slice which should not be dependent on the other slice. So in that case, we can use the inbuilt functions to create a copy of the slices. So that function is copy, and what the arguments it takes is, it takes a destination slice as the first argument, and it takes source slice as the second argument, and it returns the number of element which it has copied. Okay. One general thing to keep in mind while using this function is that the destination sorry, the destination slice should be minimum of the length of the slice, that is the source slice, or it should be equal to the length of destination slice. Okay, so let's look at that with the help of an example. Yeah, there is a question I saw from Dinesh, that what happens if we modify the value in first slice? Will it affect the second slice as well? So we can just see for ourselves. Okay, yeah, it will, though it will modify the value in first slice, second slice as well. So integer 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, S2, S1. So I am creating new slice out of the first slice. And what I'm trying to do now is I am trying to manipulate anything in the first. So I am giving it a value. S1 and S2. Yeah, so as you can see, Dinesh, that even if I am modifying the value in the first slice, it is still visible. The changes are still visible in slice 2 as well. And if I do the same with slice 2, like I try to manipulate the value at 0th index and change it to 99, it will get reflected in both the slices, because eventually they will be referring to same underlying data structure only. So the 99 value is reflected in both the slices. I hope this clears your question, right? So we were looking at the copy function in Golang. So what I have done is I have created a slice S1. Okay. So this is a slice which contains 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what if I want to create a new slice? And so in order to do that, what we have to do is first create an empty slice of the same or greater length. Okay. So it is necessary that the length of this slice, new slice, should be equal to the slice we are trying to copy or should be greater. So here we are trying to initialize a new slice with the same length as the previous one. Previous one, that means the length of slice S1. Okay. So you can see I have declared a variable S2 and initialized an empty slice of the similar sizes S1. So this will also have length 4, capacity 4. So in order to copy all the values from 1, 2, 3, all the copies from slice 1 into slice 2, I'm using the copy function. Okay. So, and after that, after copying the slice, what I am trying to do is I am trying to modify the value in the second slice. I am trying to modify the value at index 2 and changing it to 9. So let's see what is the new value now. So as you can see, the values in both the slices are different, since the copy function creates a very new slice for using the slice one. So if I want to copy slice one into slice two using copy function, what it will try to do is it will create a new slice altogether with new underlying array, and it will just store all these values in that. So basically these two slices S2 and S1 will not be pointing to the same underlying array now when we are using the copy function to create a new slice. Okay. So as you can see on the line 14, what I have tried to do is I tried to manipulate the slice and updated the value at index 2 and updated it to 9. So when I print the slices S1 and S2, what I can see in the output is slice 1 is still unchanged. That is, it has values 1, 2, 3, 4, and the slice 2 is modified now. And at the index 2, you can see 9 instead of 3. So this is how a copy function works in Golang. Okay. And apart from copy function, there is one more function which is very helpful while working with slices, and that function is append. So in order to append new values to a slice, we generally use append function. So what this append function takes is the first argument to this append function is the slice which we are trying to append the value to, and the second parameter is the argument, the elements which we are trying to append to that slice. So the second argument can be any number of elements. Okay. So let's look at with the help of an example. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here is I have a slice with a single string hello in it. Okay. And I'm trying to append a value world to it. So now the slice should contain two values instead of just one. Okay. So as you can see, this slice A now contains two values, which is hello and world. So this is very common use of append. There is very common use of append function while working with slices. So in order to append any value to a slice, what you have to do is you have to like first mention the slice variable, then equal to operator. Then after that, append function is called. And within the append function, we pass two parameters. First one is the slice, which we are in which we are trying to append new elements, and the second parameter is elements itself. And there is a question from Yash Arora that can we append multiple values in single statements? So you are right, Yash. We can do append multiple elements in the single statements. So let's see the example now. So this is similar to what we had in the first example. I am taking a slice of string which has value hello. And what I'm trying to do now is I am trying to append two values to it, world and now. So what the resultant slice should contain is it should contain three values, hello, world, and now. Okay. So I'll just comment out the first value so that it does not come into output. And you can see the resultant value is hello, world, and now. Okay. And there is one more thing which we can do here is we can append a slice into another slice. So consider I have a slice C1 which has an exclamation mark as an string value, and I have another slice which contains two values, hello and world. Okay. So so basically, if I want to append the values from slice C2 into slice C1, what I'll do is I'll use the append function. I'll pass the first parameter C1, and as second parameter, I'll use the name of the slice, and after that, I will use the spread operator. This is what we call a spread operator, and this will just like expand the slice. And what we did here was we passed the two values separately. So this is very much similar to that. So this will like expand the string, and this will append all the values into new slice. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, so I just commented out the print statement. Okay, so as you can see in the resultant slice, that is C1, we can see 3 elements now, which is exclamation, hello, world. So even if I were to add few more elements, so that it does not bother us, because it will just put all the values from slice C2 into slice C1 now. So as you can see in the output, I have 5 values now. Exclamation, hello world, now SSS. So this is how we append to a slice. Okay. So Dinesh has a question that what happens if we don't add spread operator to the slice. So let's try it out and see what happens if we do that. As you can see, the compiler is giving us an error mentioning that the variable is not of similar type. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to append the elements of same data type. So this spread operator, what this does is it expands the values and just tries to send it one by one. But if we do not use the spread operator here, what it will do is it will try to append an array of and a slice of string into a slice of string. So this does not make sense, right? Because what we want is our C1 is a slice of string. Okay. So what it expects is we want the elements to be of type string. But what I'm trying to do here at line number 19 is I'm trying to append an element of type slice of string. So this is a type mismatch, simple type mismatch, right? Here we are expecting type string, but instead we get an slice of string. So we get a compilation error in that case. Okay, so there are few more things which should be kept in mind while working with append function in Golang. So I saw one comment from someone that yes. So the question was from Prakhar that so here will backing array remain same or will it be changed in append? Okay. So there is a catch while working with append function, right? So if the capacity of slice is more than enough, then it will like refer to the same underlying data structure only. But if in case the slice grows out of the capacity, so in this case as well, it will start referring to a new underlying array, which is double its size. Okay. So let's see with the help of an example. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create a slice with 0 elements. Okay. So, okay. What is missed here? Okay, cool. So what I have done is I have initialized an empty slice. So the length, it is obvious that length will be 0 and the capacity will be 0 here. Okay. So now what I am trying to do here is I am trying to append 2 elements to it. Okay. So I am appending 2 elements to this slice. So now after appending 2 elements, the length and capacity of this slice becomes 2 and 2. Okay. So now the length is 2 and the capacity is also 2. So that means the underlying array is exhausted now. Underlying array is exhausted means it cannot hold any more values. So even if I try to append one more value to this slice, so what it will do is it will create a new underlying array for me in order to refer. So let's look at that with the help of an example. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a new slice, and I am appending a variable, an element 30 to the slice before. So this slice one has capacity 2 and length 2. Okay. But as soon as I try to like insert one more element into this slice, what this will do is this will increase the capacity of the underlying array by twice its size. So earlier we had the capacity 2. That means the underlying array had size 2. So now it will start referring to a new underlying array altogether, which will be of size 4. Okay. And then after that, it will append the new element so that our compiler does not give any error and the program is optimized properly. So as you can see, the new slice is 10, 20, and 30, which has the new element 30 now. Its length is 3 because it consists of 3 elements. But now the capacity is 4 because it has started pointing to a new array altogether, which is of size 4 now. So the array referenced by this slice 1 and the array referenced by slice 2 is totally different now. Okay. And how can we test that? So let's do that with the help of an example. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to manipulate the value in slice 2. Okay. So in slice 2, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to change the value at 0th index and I am updating it to 1888. Okay. So since these both slices, slice 1 and slice 2, this refers to different arrays, underlying arrays now. So this should not have the same values of at index 0. So even if I modify the value at index 0, the value 1888 should not be reflected in slice 1. It should be reflected only in case of slice 2. So let's see how it goes. And as you can see, even though I updated the value at the 0th index in slice 2, it does not change the value in slice 1 because it has now started pointing to a different underlying array altogether. Okay. So this is the thing which we need to keep in mind while working with slices, that length and capacity are also important here. So as soon as the capacity is exhausted and we try to add one more new element or some more new elements, so what the compiler does is it increase the like it start referring to a new underlying array and it like it updates its size to double. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
In line number 19, can you please add 2 more elements? Actually, I just want to see what will be capacity then.
So
In line number
okay.
19.
Okay, cool. 2 more elements, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like add the values 40 and 50. Okay. So as you can see, since we tried to add 3 values, so the 4 size was not fit for that because it had to contain 5 values. So what it did was it updated the size thrice of the original size. Okay. So now the capacity of underlying array is 6 and the length is 5. So is it clear now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That was a good question, by the way. So now looking at some another examples where we have enough capacity. So let's just revert this for the sake of examples. Okay. So what if I try to append one more value to the previous slice? So the previous slice is slice 2, which has value 10, 20, and 30. And the its length is 3 and the capacity is 4. So length is 3, that means it contains 3 values. Capacity is 4, that means at maximum this underlying array can hold 4 values. So if I try to append within the capacity, so if I'm trying to append only just one value, so what it will do is it will not start referring to a new underlying array. It will refer to the same array for this case. So let's see what's the values of slice, its length and capacity. So the value of slice now is 10, 20, 30, and 40. Since we appended new variable, its length has become 4, and its capacity has stayed at 4 only, because we didn't go beyond the capacity while appending. And in order to test if the slice 2 and slice 3 are still pointing to the same underlying array, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to update the value of 0th index in slice 3. So I'm again trying to change the value of 10 to 1888. Okay. So now, since both slice 2 and slice 3 are referring to the same underlying array, so it is expected that both the slices should have the manipulated value in the output. So as you can see in the output, since both are referring to same underlying array, we can see the value is updated for both the slices. So this is some like tricky thing while working with append. You need to keep in mind the length and capacity of the underlying array so that nothing goes south. Okay. So this was all about slices in Golang. So there are few questions I just wanted to ask you guys. So these are just practice exercises. So looking at the first question, so what do you think should be the length and capacity of this slice? I am using a make function to initialize an empty slice of length and capacity, and I have mentioned a 5 value here. So what should be the length and capacity of this A slice? You guys can give the answer in chat. Yes. So side by side, we will just try it out as well. So most of you guys have answered that the values will be same. That is slice and capacity both will be 5. So now just let's try to run it. And as you can see in the output, the values that is length and capacity are 5 only. Okay. And what about the second example, where I have given a declaration using make function, where I mentioned the first value is 0 and second value is 5. So what should be the length and capacity here? Okay. So I can see 0 and 5 in the answer. So let's just try to print this. And yes, the length is 0 and the capacity is 5 for this slice. So this third question makes it a little bit trickier. So what do you think should be the length and capacity now? So let's make sure that this third slice C is using slice B to create a new slice. Okay. So what should be the length and capacity of the slice now? So most of the answers I can see are 2 and 5. So let's just try out. And absolutely correct. The length is 2 here and capacity is 5. And what is the length and capacity in the fourth case? So here we are using the slice C and using the reslicing operation to create a new slice. We are giving the indexes 2:5. So what should be the length and capacity? Someone has mentioned error in the answer, I can see. So yes, this will not give an error. Just to mention, this will tell us the exact length and capacity of slice. So let's see what is the answer now. Yes, you guys are right. the length and capacity of the slice will be 3 and 3 now. And one more question. So on the right hand side, you can see I am creating a string S which consists of two elements, India and France. And I'm trying to print the string here. And after that, I have called add element function on this slice. And after that, I have also printed the same slice again. So what this add element function does is, it takes the slice, it does the append operation on slice and adds a new element to it. So what do you think should be the output at this point? So let's take the output at the very end. So what do you think should be the output? Like should be the value of the slice S after this add element function? Just think about it. We just saw the use of append function and how does it work and how length and capacity like hinders the work, hinders the functioning of append function, how it affects it. So let's also keep that in mind. So I can see some mixed answers here. Some of you guys are answering that it should be India, France. Some of you are answering India, France, and Germany. So let's just try this out and see for ourselves that what should be the output here. Okay. So I am just trying to. Okay. So even after like appending the element Germany to the slice, we are still getting the element. We are still getting the slices India and France only. This is because at this point of time, we have the length of slices 2 and the capacity of slices 2. Okay. And what we have done is we have passed this slice to this add element function. So as soon as we use this append function here, so what this will do is, since the capacity is exhausted and we cannot add any more values, so what it will do is it will start pointing to a new underlying array, and the capacity of that new slice would be 4 now, and the length will become 3 after appending the value. So if we try to like print the value here, so it will be India, France, and Germany. Okay, but since we did not return from here, okay, since we did not return, so the slice here will be unchanged right now. So when we print the value of slice S here, it will still be India and France only, and not India, France, and Germany, because at this point of time, it has created a new slice, and it has started pointing a new underlying array, and it is the slice at line number 14 is still referencing to the old array. So that's why the output at line number 18 is India and France, and not India, France, and Germany.
Can we add one more name in the line number 14 and see the output?
At line number 14, you say?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll take Japan. So it is still unchanged, because at this point of time, the length is 3 and the capacity is 3. And when we try to do it, like add a new element here, the capacity will go to 6, and the length will become 4. So this is still pointing to a new reference array and not the older one. That's why the values will be unchanged here as well. Is that clear?
Yes. Can we do one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, in line number 14, we keep 2 names only, and
Okay.
in below line, if we can add append Japan in this function itself at line number 15.
Sorry, could you please repeat?
Yeah,
I did not.
At
Yeah.
line number 15, can we append Japan in the main function itself?
Okay, okay. You are telling to do that here. Okay, got it. So S equal to append and do Japan here. Okay. So what do you think should be the expected output here?
I think all 4 names are print.
Yeah. So at the line number 16, since we are trying to append to the already exhausted array, so what this will do is this will increase the length and capacity to 3 and 4 respectively. So let's just first try to print what we have here, like what is the length and capacity of this S value. And we will later on focus on, oh shit, later on focus on the other things. So as you can see, since we appended a new value to an already exhausted capacity, so what it did was it extended the capacity to 4 by referring to a new underlying array, and it added a new value. So when we try to add a new element to this slice, so now what happened? Can you tell me? Can anyone tell me what happened now? Or
It's
is there,
passed
is
by
there
value, right? It's passed by value, so it's not the same string. It's the new string that's created, new slice that's created.
but in Golang everything is passed by value only, and nothing is passed by reference. So let's just find out.
So it will affect the actual parameters also then, whatever we are passing inside the function.
So let's just try to like print the length and capacity after that. Okay, so the value is changed. But at this point, it is still pointing to the same underlying array only. Okay, so now let's move on to another data structure, that is maps in Golang. So just like what we have in another programming languages like dictionary or hash map.
Sorry to interrupt. Could you please
Yeah.
explain why it was printing only 3 values?
Yeah.
Previous one.
Was it not clear?
No.
Okay, yeah, just a second. We'll look at the example and so what we did was we created a array, appended 3 values here. So sorry. So at this point of time, the length and capacity is 3 only. And when we try to add new element here, its capacity and length will be changed to 4. But still, since we did not return it, like in order to get the new values here in the slice, we have to return the slice from here as well.
But why is it needed? Like we are creating changes in the backing array only, which is present in memory. So I don't think so. We don't need to return this
Sorry,
slice.
your voice is not clear. Could you please?
Is it clear now? Hello.
Yeah, it is clear.
So I was saying that since we are, I mean, in this line number 8, we are making changes in the backing array only. So it's present in the memory. So why the changes are not reflected in the main function?
So you are asking, since we are referring to the same array here.
Exactly, the capacity is sufficient enough, no? So no,
So-
we are not creating a new backing array as well.
So at this point of time, at line number 15, you are saying when after appending to the Japan, what we created was, it started referring to a new underlying array. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So it had now the 3 values, India, France, and Japan, and the capacity got to 4. Okay.
Right.
And after that, what we did was we passed the element to the this add element function, and we like added a new element to this slice, and which has gotten the length and capacity to 4 and 4. Okay. So your question is that it should like refer to the same underlying array only right now.
Yes.
Yes. So why didn't it change here? So let me get back to you on this one, since I am also not clear about this behavior. So by the doubt session, I'll get the clear idea of this, and I'll let you guys know if that is okay with you guys. Is it okay?
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Okay, sure. So some of you guys are requesting that we should take a small break or then get started with map. So is a 5 or 10-minute break enough for you guys? You guys can answer in the chat, so that we will take a 5 or 10-minute break, and then we'll get started with map, since there are two topics remaining, maps and strings. So yeah, let's take a 10-minute break, and for that time, just do not leave the meeting. Otherwise, Rachel will have to like coordinate with you all guys, and you will have to ping you all to join again. So do not leave the meeting for now. Just take a 10-minute break and come back to it. We'll start sharp at 10:55 a.m. Okay. Just I'm repeating it once again. Do not leave the meeting. Just come back by 10:55. Okay. I'll start at 10:55 sharp. Hello. Hi, Rachel. Okay, let's get started now. So map is yet another data structure in Golang. It is somewhat similar to what we have in another programming languages like dictionary or hash maps. So in Golang, maps is an unordered collection of key value pairs. So the order of key value pair is not fixed. So in order to define a map, we have a special keyword in Golang which is used to create a map, and it is followed by the key type in the square bracket, and following that we mention the type of value. So let's see how we can initialize a map in Golang. So I am declaring a variable m1 which is of type map, which has key of type integer and has values of type string. So this is how we can declare a variable of type map which has keys of type integer and has values of type string. In order to initialize a map, what I can do is I can use a shorthand also. So what I have to do is I have to mention the same values before, like key is of type integer and values are of type string, followed by curly braces. So what this will do is this will initialize the map to empty. So this is a nil map which does not have any key value pairs. So in Golang, basically empty slices and empty maps are nil. So we have to always keep that in mind while working with maps and slices, that the empty values of slice and maps are always nil. So map is yet another reference type in Golang and has zero value of nil. That this is what I just mentioned. And if you try to do a writing operation on a nil map, you will get a panic, and it will return a zero value if you try to access some values from the nil map. So let's see the example here. I have created a variable m1 which is of type map, which has key value pair. Keys are of type integer and values are of type string. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to insert a key value pair where key is 1 and value is hello. So since it is a nil map, since we have not initialized it, so what this will do is the compiler will panic, okay, because we are trying to insert a value to an empty, that is nil map. So as you can see, a panic has occurred, and which shows that assignment to entry in the nil map. So that means it does not allow us to enter data into a nil map. So instead of this, if I would have done it like that, like I have done the empty initialization. So in that case, this is not a nil map. This is an empty map. So this can hold the values. So as you can see, I was able to add a value, a key value pair where the key is 1 and the value is hello. And when I tried to access the map and tried to fetch the value for the key 1, it has given me the output as hello. So this is how declare and insert values in maps. So there are few more ways to initialize a map in Golang. We can use make function as well. So make function also works with maps. So in order to just initialize an empty map, you have to give the basic data type of map in here. So when you try to instead of this, what I'll do is I'll create a M1 map and use a make function here. And in make, I will mention that I want a map which has keys of type integer and which holds the values string. So this is similar to what we got for the earlier initialization. I can just put something else instead of hello, and you'll be able to see that I was able to do it successfully. So these are the two ways by which we can initialize an empty map. So keys can be any comparable type in maps. So any comparable type like which you can compare. There is a link. This is attached to this comparable key. So you can just go through this and you can read about it. These are the comparable types in Golang, which are Boolean, integer, floating point, struct, array, and all you can read about comparable types here. So you can just go by yourself and kind of treat this like an study assignment. And notably, this excludes function, maps, and slices because these are not comparable types. Function, maps, and slices are not comparable in Go. So yeah, and value can be of any type. So if you are storing values, key value pair in map, so key can be of any comparable type and value can be of any type, including some custom types or interfaces. So by custom type, what I mean is I am creating a struct of my own. Like if I want to store some details of an employee or a person against his name or against an ID, so I can do that as well. So like we have a declaration here that I have declared the type person, which has first name and last name. And I have declared a map, initialized an empty map, which stores the person details against a string key. So this is what we can also do in case of maps. So in map, we can store key value pairs like in this way. So if I want to add a key value pair, I can just mention the key, then equal to operator, then after that I can mention the values. And another way, one more way to do that is, so this is one way, like I have mentioned M1 of 2 equal to SSS. So this map holds two values. Key 1 value KKK, key 2 value SSS. But instead of that, if I just want to like declare the value, initialize the values at first only, so I can do that as well. Like I can do a key and a value here, 2, comma, key, colon, value. So this way, this is also acceptable in Golang. So this also you can do while initializing the maps. You can also mention the key value pairs while initializing. Okay. And in order to get the values from the map, what you have to do is you have to just give the map name, and within the square brackets you have to mention the key which you want, whichever value you want it for. Okay. So I have a key value pair of 1 and 2. So I want to get the value of key 1 in the map. So I am just accessing the value from the map with the help of square brackets and mentioning the key within the square bracket. So the value I got is 2. And if I just mention 2 here, so it will, what it will do is it will find the value against the key 2, which is bar in this case. Okay. So a zero so if a value does not exist, so what it returns is it returns the 0 value of the type. So in case a key does not exist, so consider I have reversed this situation and I have taken a key as string and value as integer. and against the key foo, I'm storing value 1, and against the key bar, I'm storing value 2. And what if I want to like get the value for any key which does not exist in the map? So QWE, something like that. So what I get is I get the default value, that is 0 value of the type. So here the value type is integer, and since the key does not exist, what this will return is, this will give me the empty value of the value type. So this will give me the 0 value of the empty type. So since it is integer here, it will give me 0. And if I were to take it as Boolean and like put it true for this two values, and again try to access the key QWE which does not exist, it will give me a Boolean value false, which is the default for Boolean data type. Okay, so there is a way which in which we can differentiate if a key exists or not, or if it has an empty value. So sorry, if it has a 0 value. So what this M1 QWE returns is, it returns false. So it is not clear from this annotation that this value is false or this key does not exist, because I can also have a value like bar also can have false value, right? So it is not very clear from the this particular annotation that if bar exists or bar has the value false. So in that case, we have one more kind of declaration in Golang with which we can like find out if the value in map, key value pair in map does really exist or not. So I am trying to get the value, and I'm using another variable OK here. So variable name can be anything. What this map, while we are like finding value for any key, it returns two values actually. So if we try to just print it, it will return the value always. But if we try to catch both these two values, so the what this second value refer to is if the key really exists in the map or not. So for F1 bar, I should be getting the value false, and I should get the value false, and the OK value should be OK value should be true since the key exists. Does key exist? Okay, so I'll print it. So you can see the value is false here, and does key exist? It is saying true. But if I do it for QWE, since the key does not exist in our map, so what this will do is it will like return the default value of the type Boolean, that is false, but it will also tell us that this key does not exist. So by this second variable, we can get to know that if the key value pair in the map really does exist in the map or not. So in order for you guys to like go through the examples, I have attached a link to the Go playground where you can like look at the examples and for all the topics which were covered in that slide. Okay. So moving forward, in order to get the length of the slice, we can use len function. So len function, like similar to what we use for slices, we can also use it for maps as well. So here I have declared a map which contains two values. So the length here should be 2. So with the help of len function, we can find out how many key value pair does the map contains. And similar to that, there is one more point that a nil map has length 0. So this is what we are trying out. We have declared a nil map. We have just declared a variable and did not initialize it with any values. So this is a nil map. So when I try to find out its length, the length of nil map is 0. Okay. So how to iterate over maps in Golang? So in loops, you must have seen the examples of for range loops. So for range loops can be used to iterate over maps. So there are 3 ways generally by which you can iterate over maps. You can just go through the keys. So for that, you have to do the for range loop declaration like this, for keyword. Then after that key, this variable can be anything, but if you are just mentioning one variable here, so what this will do is this will just get the value of keys here. So if I just were to comment out the other stuff and print this, so I can see it is just printing the keys here. And you can also notice one thing, that the keys I mentioned were in sequence John, Jane, and Mark, but the output I got was Mark, Jane, John, and Jane. So this also proves one of our point that maps is a random sequence of orders. So there is no fixed sequence of order in maps. So whenever you are like working with maps in Golang, you need to keep this in mind, that order does not persist in maps. Okay. So there is one more another way by which you can iterate over both keys and values in a map. So in that case, you just have to use 2 variables here. So first one represents the key, second one would represent the values, and using the same for range loop, you can go through the key value pair as well. So as you can see, it is going through key value pairs, printing Jane as key and 29 as value, and same for other key values. And if you want to just go through the values and not the key, so you can use the blank identifier here. So in case you do not want to use any value, like this range would return 2 values, key and value. Okay. So if you don't want to use key variable, so what you can do is you can use blank identifier at that place. So this will not like store the values of keys and will just store the values from the map. So as you can see, it is just printing the values. Okay, I was trying to print a line in between. Okay, in the output, you can see first case was all the keys, second case was key value pair both, and third case was just to print the values. Okay. And same type of iteration we can use on slices as well. Okay. So instead of this variable, people variable, what you have to do is you have to like mention a slice here. So it will be similar. So let's see an example of iteration over slices as well. So let me declare a slice variable. Okay, just let me comment this out and use the same variable here. People. This is an integer slice, value 1, 2, 3, 4. No, let me give some another values. Otherwise, it will coincide with the indexes. So if I were to like run 3 loops, all these 3 loops on slices, so what I get to see is in the first case, at place of keys, I get the indexes. So if I do not mention a second variable here, so I will only get the indexes of the variables here. Okay. And if I want to get both the indexes and values, then I can use the second type of declaration where I am getting index in first variable and value in the second variable. So at index 0, value 10 is stored, index 1, value 20 is stored. And for the third one, we are just trying to get the values. So like this way, we can iterate over maps and slices in Golang. Okay, in order to delete a key value pair from maps, what you can do is you can use a inbuilt function. So there is an inbuilt function in Golang which can be used while working with maps, that helps us in deleting key value pairs from that particular map. Okay, so let's look at with the help of an example. So let's see. I have declared a map here, which has three values, John, three key value pairs, and we will try to just print the values in it. So as you can see, it is printing three values, Jane 29, Jane 28, John 30. Now what I want to do is I want to delete a key value pair from the people map where the key is John. Okay, so does it contain a John key? Yes. So it should be successfully able to delete it. So as you can see, from the people's map, the key value pair from John is deleted. Okay, and if I were to like pass on a key which does not exist, so this wouldn't matter much. So this will not throw an error of any kind. So as you can see, nothing is deleted from the initial map since the key did not exist. Okay, so there is one more thing while we can do while working with maps, that is if we want to copy a map. So similar to slices, map is also a reference to underlying data. So when you assign a map to any variable, what it does is it assigns the reference to underlying type only. So in order to copy a map, what you have to do is you have to iterate over that map and assign all the values one by one. So let's see with the help of an example. So I have first copied a map into another variable. So people and people2, these both are referring to same underlying data. So if I try to change the value for Jin key, so it should be reflected in both the variable, both the maps. Okay, so as you can see in the later part of the output, you can see the Jin value has changed to 90 from 28. Okay, so what if I want to copy the map without like copying the references? So what you will have to do is you will have to create a new map with empty initialization, and then you have to just go iterate over the old map and assign value to new map one by one. So let's see with the help of an example. I have declared a new map variable using make function, and then I'm iterating over the people map and putting the new key value pair at line number 31. Okay, so when I print the values, so in the output you can see that people and people3 both are same. Okay, since I have like used all the key value pairs from people map only. But if I try to change anything in the people3 map, now it should not affect the people's map. Okay, so let's see if it affects or not. So at the place of Jin, we had the value 90. So when I updated the value to 80 for Jin, it was only reflected for people3 and it did not reflected for people. So yeah, this is how we can copy a map in Golang. And those were the normal data structures which you'll be like get hands-on with while working with Golang on regular basis. And there is one more thing which we should learn about is strings. So strings in Golang are immutable sequence of bytes. So this is the similar behavior which we see in most of the programming languages, that we cannot like update the strings or strings are immutable. So similar is the case for Golang as well. So if I have declared a variable str and given a value header as a string, so if I want to update the character at character at place index 2. So it is not possible because strings are immutable in Go, and it should throw an error. Like cannot assign to str2 value of type byte. So this proves our point that strings are immutable sequence of bytes in Golang. And there are two ways in which we can declare strings, either using the double quotes or either within the backticks. Okay. So the difference between these two are, in double quotes, we like persist the value of escape characters. So you must be familiar with escape characters like /n, /t, which are there for new line and add some space. So when I use escape characters within the double quotes declaration, so I'll get to see the use of being the escape characters being interpreted. So here in the str1, I have added as escape character /n in between and at the end. So what this does is it prints the output of the str1 and it switches to a new line just before my name. So it that means it persists the value of escape characters. And the second type of declaration is within the backticks. So backticks are uninterpreted. Okay. So whatever you write in backticks is considered as it is. So if you give space, if you give empty characters, or if you give escape characters in the backticks, it will still be considered as a natural string. So let's try to just print it out. So as you can see, this statement is declared within the backtick. So even though I were to add a /n here, it won't change any meaning and it will still be uninterpreted because it does not consider for any escape characters while we are like mentioning a string within backticks. Okay. And apart from that, there are few more operations that we can do on strings, just like another programming languages. We can append the string with the help of plus operator. So if we want to append two strings, we can use plus in between them. And so it is a string concatenation operation in Golang. If we want to compare two strings, we can use double equal to operator to compare two strings. So if the two string matches, it will give us either true or false, true if match and false if it does not match. And in order to get the length of string, we can also use len function here. Just like slices and maps, we can use len function for getting the length of string as well. So first we will look at the string concatenation operation. So here I'm concatenating three strings. First one is hey, then a small space, then there. So we get a resultant string as hey there. And just like that, I have mentioned two strings, John Doe and Jane Doe. And if I were to compare those and want to find out if these two match or not, so what I've done is I have like printed a string equal statement and checked if both match or not. So result of this should be either true or false. So if string were to match, it would give true. And if the string does not match, it should give false. So the output as expected is false here, since both string are not equal. And in order to get the length of the string, we can use the same len function here to get the length of the strings. So this string contains 25 characters. So we can get that by help of len function. So apart from that, we can do slicing operations on strings. So let's see how we can do slicing. It is similar to what we did for slices. Okay. So if I have a string hey there, and I just want to get the first three characters of that string. So what I would do is I would use the variable name, use the square brackets, and within that I would mention the indexes from what point to the end I want to get the substring. So I want only first three characters. So I mentioned, so this empty thing is referred to as 0 at the start. So this will get me the first three characters. So when I run the program, it will print hey because the substring contains only first three. And similar to that, we can, similar to slices and maps, we can also range over strings in Golang. So this is very much similar to what we saw for maps and slices. So I am ranging over a string here. So this will give me the index, first variable, and second variable will give me the value at that particular index. So as you can see in the output, and yes, the values here are bytes. Okay, since string is array of bytes only. So it is giving me the value of bytes. So at 0th index, byte value is 72, at index 1, byte value is 101. And similarly, similar to what we had in C. So there were some formatting constructs, right? We used to use %d, %f, %c, or %s. So that we can do in Golang as well, since Golang is somewhat similar to C as well when you see the coding style and like the declaration and stuff. So you'll notice that it is somewhat similar to what we have in C. Okay. So if I am using, so this, it is important to keep in mind that this function ending with this f are used for formatting, like fmt.printf, or so just show, let me show you another function as well. So fmt.sprintf. So this fprintf function, what it does is it returns the number of integers in the resultant string, and this sprintf function returns the string, total string only. Okay. So these two functions can be used while we are like using formatting while printing statements in Golang. Okay. You cannot use like formatting constructs with another functions like println. It would throw an error and would not be of any use. So we have to keep that in mind. Yeah. So as you can see, it has printed %d value 1, %f value float, and given the result as string value, and that is 4. So this is similar to, very much similar to C. And just to mention, strings are not limited to like this much operations only, because by built-in, there are built-in functions and built-in packages given in Golang which are very much useful while working with strings. So there are several important packages which you'll be using in day-to-day activities while working with strings, and one of them is strings package, which is very helpful while working searching operations, splitting, case conversions. So you can just go through these links and study for yourself, since there are many functions like to upper, to lower, count the characters in string, cut, equal, fields. So there are a lot more. And similar to that, since string is a array of bytes only, so this bytes package works on the byte array and not the string characters. Okay, so you can go through this as well. And this strconv starconf package is also very helpful by like typecasting values from string data type to another data. Like if you want to typecast string value to integer or float, so this strconv package is very much useful. You can go through this, you can check out the package, you can try out the functions by yourselves, and you can see how this works, and like whatever functions are accessible to you. So this was it guys. This was all about today's session. Okay, thank you for today's time, and yeah, we'll see you in doubt session today. Okay, do you guys have any doubt in maps and strings? or should we go ahead and end the session now?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't doubt in maps. So you wrote in one code like how we can see that a certain key exists in a map or not. So
Okay.
you wrote something like val dot okay is equal to map something.
Yeah.
So if we do this again, like if we do this 2 times in a row, will that give true in the second time?
So what do you mean if we do it 2 times in a row? Like you
Like
want?
if you
Yes. Please speak.
so if we copy this line number 10 and again print it.
Okay, just a second. Okay. So
I just-
I'm taking some another variables. Okay. Well, one, okay, one. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So,
So will okay one will be true or false?
yeah. Let's see. So this is similar to what we got for the first one. That is false and false because the key does not exist. Like, let's see for the bar example. Okay. So bar would be good for this particular case. Yeah. So as you can see, the value of bar is false and it does not exist. And it is showing for both the cases. Like if we subsequently use this too. So even though you want it to do it like this, but it does not make sense because we have done it once and we got to know that if it exists or not.
I actually wanted to see this because when we do it for the first time, so
Okay.
we are getting certain value out of that. Like it will
Yeah.
give some default value for a key that doesn't exist. So
Okay.
will it add that key to the map or not? I just want to check that.
What do you mean by will it add that key to the map? I'm not getting it.
Okay, okay. If we do something like m1 dot some key and we will give some value, it will add that key to the key value to the map, right?
Okay.
So if we check for some key m1 some key and we will get some value, I was just thinking that will it add that key to the map or not?
Okay. So is it clear now?
Yeah, it's
Okay. Okay. No problem.